and this happens to be the last lesson in our chapter. So we've learned tons and tons and tons of different types of methods and different tools that you can use to multiply numbers. So we learned how to multiply numbers in your head. We learned how to decompose some numbers and multiply them together, then add them up so you can do it in your head. We learned how to multiply powers of 10 and the tricks for doing that. We learned how to multiply one-digit numbers together. We learned how to estimate your multiplying. Way back at the beginning of the chapter, we learned about factor trees. We learned about exponents. Do you remember all of that? So there's been lots and lots and lots of things that we've learned about in this chapter. So today is the final lesson for this chapter where we're going to multiply by two-digit numbers. So we're going to have two digits on the top, or three maybe possibly, and then two digits on the bottom. So this should also be a review for you a little bit. So hopefully once I start showing you, you will remember that you've done this before. It is super important that you pay attention. The steps really are the same as yesterday, except you have to do it twice because there's two digits in that number. So you do it once with one of the digits, once with the other digit. Okay, so if you understood yesterday and you did well when we just corrected the homework, you should be able to do pretty well on this one too. Aiden, what's your question?
How come if this is the last lesson today, then how come we have a test on Friday?
We have our test next Thursday because we have no school Monday because it's a holiday. Tuesday and Wednesday we're going to review. So we're actually going to take 2 days to review this chapter because it was such a long chapter. So we're going to do 2 days worth of review and then we'll take our test on Thursday. Then we'll start chapter 3 next Friday. Okay, so that's the reason why. I want to make sure we take 2 days to review, not just one, since it was a long chapter. Okay, so we just talked about the essential question. This is just one more tool that you can use when you're multiplying numbers. We are going to skip the problem of the day today so that we can do extra examples. Here's what I need you to write in your notes. Make sure you have the lesson, which is chapter 2, lesson 10. And the title is Multiply Two-Digit Numbers. Multiply two-digit numbers. So again, we're going to write something with a star like we did yesterday. Always start with the ones place. So I told you that what we're doing here is pretty much like what we did yesterday, and that was something we wrote yesterday too, was that we wanted to start with the ones place. So we're going to start with the ones place again today, except we're going to go through 2 times when we multiply. So let's try our very first example. And like I said, we're going to do lots of examples. So if the first one that we do you're not sure and you're having a hard time with, we will be doing more. Okay, and we're going to do some here. And then I'm going to do some together with you from your assignment, and that'll be even more examples before I let you get started. That's why we skipped some stuff today, so we can have a little bit more time. So here's your first one. This is in your notes. You should have this in your notes. We're going to have 68 times 34. 68 times 34. So you can see that this looks like what we did yesterday, except we have 2 digits on the top and 2 digits on the bottom. We're going to start multiplying with our ones place. We're going to kind of pretend like that 3 is not there for right now. Okay, so for a second, just kind of pretend that 3 is not there. If it helps you to put your finger over it or something like that when you're doing your multiplying, just pretend like it's not there. So we're going to do like what we did yesterday. 4 times 3 is 32. So we're going to regroup the 3 up here, put a 2 underneath. And now we're going to multiply 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24, and we're going to add the 3 to it, and that gives us 27. So far, we should be good, right? Because this is what we did yesterday. Now, the difference comes when we have to start multiplying now with the 3, because now this 3 here is in the tens place. And we need to now start multiplying with the 3. So sometimes it gets a little bit confusing because you have so many other numbers there that you're not going to look at anymore. So if you want to, you can put an X through the 4 because we've used the 4 and we're not going to use it again now. And you can also put an X on that 3 that we regrouped up there. because you don't want to get confused and accidentally add that in another time when we're multiplying. So as soon as I do the rest of this problem, you'll see why it was important that we X that 3 out, because you just don't want to get too confused. Anybody know what I need to add to this before I start multiplying? Anybody remember? Hamza, what is it? A 0. Yay, you guys do remember. So a 0 goes right here. So don't forget the 0. Yes. Very important. So I will tell you that the number one reason why people get these wrong is because they forget the 0. Because what happens when you forget that 0 is that all of your digits are then scooted over 1. And so when we go and start to add up all the columns, you're adding up the wrong two numbers together. So you may have done all the work right, except if you forgot that 0, you're going to it's going to mess up your problem and you're going to get the complete wrong answer. Boys, make sure you're listening. So the reason why we have to put the 0 there is because now, since we're going to start multiplying using this 3 here, that's in the tens place, so our answer has to start in the tens place. So think of it like that. When I was multiplying by the 4 right here, that's the ones place, so my answer could start in the ones place. But once I start to multiply in the tens place, my answer has to go there too. And so in order to do that, we're going to hold the place by putting a 0 right there. Okay, so now I'm going to start multiplying. And I'm going to follow my rule, always starting with the ones place. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 8, because the 8 is in the ones place. I always go all the way to the right whenever I start multiplying. So 3 times 8 is 18. So I'm going to carry the 1 and put the 8 under here. Now do you see why it was important why we X that 3 out up there?
Yes.
Because if I left that 3 up there, I would be confused and maybe I would think it was a 13, which it's not.
3 times 8 is 24.
Thank you. Anthony.
3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 6 is 24. But then you have to do
I can't trust you.
3 times 6 is 8.
Wait, I don't get it.
3 times 8 is 24.
3 times 8?
Yeah.
Because
I just agreed with you. Okay, so let's do that part again. Sorry. Yeah, you did mess me up. I was thinking 6 too, because that was our next. I think we might have been going ahead a little bit.
remember, do
So,
that.
yes.
Do the ones
Yes.
place
Thank you, Nolan. Let's
first.
remember to do the ones place first. So 3 times 8 is 24. So I put the 2 up here, and then I put the 4 underneath. So one more time. Do you see why it's important that we X'd out the 3? Because if you have the 3 there, and now you have a 2 next to it, that could mess up your brain when you're not sure what to add. Because now we're going to do 3 times 6. So Anthony, do you know what 3 times 6 is?
Yeah. It would be 20 with the 2.
It would be 20 with the 2. So it's 18, 20 when you add the 2. So now I'm going to put 20 down here.
I thought I had it right.
Now we're going to add them up. So the last time you multiply, like when I multiplied 3 times 6 is 18, and then I added 2, that's a 2-digit number. And because there's nowhere to regroup, it's okay to put 2 digits on the bottom. So now I'm going to start adding. 2 and 0 is 2, 7 and 4 is 11, 2 and 1 is 3, 2 and nothing is 2. So there's your final answer, 2,312. Okay? It is a long process. That's why, as long as you follow the steps, you'll be fine. It's the same steps twice. Let's do it again. Here's another one. What is your question?
I was gonna say, what if you remembered it, like, do the ones place both ways first?
However you want to remember it.
So
Sure. That'll work however you want to remember it. Okay, let's try this one. We're going to do one more together. Then I'm going to let you do one by yourself in notes, and then we're just going to check it, okay, just to see where you are. Sean, make sure you're writing all of these notes down. These notes are super important. Nope, you haven't done this on your whiteboard though either. You're drawing a picture. We have in that notebook. We already did one example that you missed, and so now you need to make sure you get the second, third, and fourth example. Here they are. 82 times 56. Ready?
Yeah.
6 times 2 is 12. So I'm going to regroup the 1, put the 2 underneath. Remember, I'm ignoring the 5 for now. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 1 is 49.
I remember this one for free.
Good. I'm going to put a 0 underneath. And now I'm going to cross out this, and I'm going to cross out this.
Wait, how did
Just to help myself remember that I don't need to use those anymore.
Wait, how did you get the 9?
I got 49 because 6 times 8 is 48. And then I added 1 to it, and I got 49. Ready? Let's do the rest.
Mistake 2. I'm confused though. Why would you cross out the 1 if you already used it with the... You already did use it.
I used it when I did 6 times 2 is 12. That's why I regrouped the 1. Boys, over there, follow with what we're doing and just keep listening. It's hard if there's a lot of side conversations. Hold on, stop. It's too hard if there's a lot of side conversations. So you really have to hear what I'm saying. Everybody has to hear what I'm saying. 6 times 2 is 12, so I put a 1 on the top, and then I put the 2 on the bottom. Then I have to do 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. And then I add the 1, which makes it 49. I'm going to use the 5 right now.
That's what I was thinking about.
So right now, I'm going to move in and start using the 5. I crossed out the 1 because I've already used it, and I crossed out the 6 because I've already used it. Now I'm going to multiply through with the 5, and I'm going to use these same 2 digits up here. So 5 times 2 is 10. Now I just happen to put another 1 up there, but it doesn't always work out like that, so you should always cross it out just to be sure. Then 5 times 8 is 40, plus 1 more is 41. And now I'm going to add those 2 rows together. 2 and 0 is 2, 9 and 0 is 9, 4 plus 1 is 5, and 4 plus nothing is 4.
Wait, the thing I don't get is that.
So hold on one second. Let me finish, and then please raise your hand if you have something you'd like to add. 4,592 becomes your final answer. Okay. Anthony, what's your
I
question?
don't understand how you got the 9.
This 9 right here?
Yeah.
6 times 8 is 48. That's your basic fact.
Wait, you're supposed to do 6 times.
6 times 8. So first I did 6 times 2. Got 12. Then 6 times 8 is 48.
Wait, how come in the first one we didn't do that?
Didn't do what?
Didn't do, in the first one that we had?
We did. We did each time. Yeah. You multiply the ones and then the tens. Ones first and then tens and then hundreds if there are hundreds. Let's do another one and then we'll see. Here's another example. This one I want you to try on your own. Okay, so here we go. We have 25 times 25. So we're going to start in the ones place. If any of this is confusing to you, here's where you need to watch me work out another problem. So the people who've had questions, you need to look at the screen and be watching how I'm working this out. The steps are the same every time. The numbers are different, the steps are the same. The places that I'm multiplying are the same every single time, it's just different numbers. So I start out this time with 5 times 5, and I get 25. Now and I had to regroup the 2. So now 5 times 2. So Sean, I'm trying to pretend like I'm not really going to look at this 2 right here, because I'm not gonna multiply with that. I'm gonna pretend like it looks like that. Okay? That's the first part you have to think of. So now it's 5 times 2, and that gives me 10. Add the other 2 that's up here, which makes 12. Now since I used, Sean, eyes on the screen, this is the part you had a question about. So because I used this 2 already, I'm gonna cross it out. And because I used this 5 already, I'm gonna cross it out. And now I'm gonna put a 0 under here, because I'm going to move into multiplying in the tens place. And so that's why you have to put the 0 underneath, so that my answer is going to also start in the tens place. So you have to have a 0 there. Anytime you go to the next level, you're going to put a 0 first. Now I'm going to multiply with the 2. So I have 2 times 5 is 10. So I'm going to put a 1 up here and a 0 underneath. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 more is 5. Going to add up those 2 columns and I get 5, 2, 6. 625.
That's what I got.
Give me a thumbs up if you got 625. Give me a thumbs up if you got 625. Oh, just a thumbs up. No words. No words. Just a thumbs up if you got 625. Okay, let's do one more for your notes. Then we're going to look at the examples and do those. Then I'm going to do some of the assignment with you. So I want you to look at those. Okay? That's why we skipped some stuff today. So let's try this one. 74 times 39. So try this one by yourself, just like the last one. So, wait, hold on.
I didn't do anything different.
One more time, let me see you silent cheer if you got the same answer as me. Because I didn't talk about it as I was walking through it. I just solved it up here because I wanted you to see. So let me show you what I did. Because I see some people who are not silent cheering. 9 times 4 is 36. So I put a 3 with a 6 in the 1's place. 9 times 7 is 63. Plus 3 more makes 66. So that's where I got these 2 from. Then I put an X through the 3 and I put an X through the 9. I put a 0 underneath. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1, put a 2 underneath. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 more is 22. So I put 22 there. Then when I added it up, I got 2,886. Okay. So solving these, can you see it's the same pattern over and over and over? The only thing that you're doing differently is you're having to put that 0 underneath. That's the main difference that you have to remember this time. Okay, let's look at example number 1 from your paper. Keep your notes. Keep your notes. Yes, they will. Keep your notes in front of you. So sometimes with math, you just have to hear it over and over and over again, and you have to practice problems over and over and over again, and then the better you're going to get at it. So that's why we're going to do some examples together, some more examples together. So on the Math in My World questions, your example number 1, there's some boxes there, which sometimes makes it a little trickier. So we're going to do this one together. Sean, your question?
I'm really excited about this lesson, and I was going to just ask if I can read example 1 and tell you all the answers.
Why don't you read? You can read example number 1. Do that.
Okay.
Read it loud so we can hear you.
Domestic cats can run up to 44 feet per second on land. At this rate, how many feet could a cat run in 12 seconds?
So Sean read us that question, and it says that the domestic cats get to run up to 44 seconds. So they want to know how many can they run in 12 seconds. 44 feet per second. How much can they run in 12 seconds? So it's 44 times 12. Now, they did do an estimate of 44 times 10, which means your estimate would be 440 about. Now we're going to multiply using the 2 times 4, which gives you 8. Luckily, we have 2 4s up there, so we're just multiplying again. 2 times 4 is 8. Put the 0 underneath. Pay attention. Put a 2, cross out that 2 right there. Think people were leaving the room, so now that they're gone, there's not all the bustling around, so now everybody can hear again. Nope. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. And lucky for us, they put the 0 in there for us, and so we didn't have to remember to do that. On the rest of your problems, you won't see that. So 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12, so I had to carry the 1. And then 1 and 4 is 5. So my final answer is 528. And that was pretty close. Well, not really, but it was close enough. I mean, it wasn't super close because we changed the 10 to we changed the 12 down to a 10. But 440 and 528 are within 100, like around 100 apart. They're pretty close. Example number 2. 165 times 31. $165 times 31. Let me get you a pencil, Tristan. So this one again has the boxes for us. So we're going to use the boxes. On your assignment, they're not going to have the boxes for you. So if they help you, you won't get that opportunity. But if they don't help you, don't worry because they're not going to be there. Our estimate is 200 times 300, which would be about 6,000. So when we multiply this, our answer should be somewhere around that. So you shouldn't get like 100,000 for your answer because that's not going to be close. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Now what goes in this spot right here? What do I do next, Nayeli? A 0. Do not forget the 0. Then we're going to cross out this 1 because we're not going to use it again. And we're going to multiply 3 times 5 is 15, so carry the 1. 3 times 6 is 18. Add 1 makes 19.
So the answer should be...
Hold on, don't tell us the answer yet. 3 times 1 is 3. Add the 1 to it makes 4. So then our final answer, remember you have to start from the ones when you're adding.
How did you get 165? That doesn't make any sense.
It actually does make sense.
Let's see, listen. Here's how I got the answers that I got. Let me erase this really quick. That was our answer, 5,115. So if you got that, you're good. Just zip it and listen for 1 second. Because if you start to say things to the other people who aren't sure, then it's going to be hard. So just zip it, listen. It's basically, look, if you're not sure how I got that. If I scribble out this 3, and I asked you, what is 165 times 1? What is that? Bryson, what is that? And you also can get that by going like this. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. That's how I got that. Okay? And then I use the 3. So I have to put the 1 under here. Now I'm not going to use this number because I've already used it. You're using 1 digit at a time starting in the ones place. Now I'm going to multiply with the 3. 3 times 5, because I go back to the ones, is 15. So the 1 goes here and the 5 goes underneath. I have to carry, it goes above the next digit over. The one I'm going to be using next. Watch the screen. 3 times 5 is 15. So I carried the 1 on top of the 6 because the 6 is the next place I'm going to be multiplying. I've carried it to the tens place. Keep listening. Then I did 3 times 6 is 18. And now I have to add that 1 that I carried, which makes 19. 1 goes up here and a 9 under here now. Now I'm going to do 3 times 1. Now I'm multiplying by the hundreds place. That's 3. You add a 1 to it, which makes 4. Now I'm going to add them all up. 5 and 0 is 5. 6 and 5 is 11. So I need to carry the 1, put the 1 underneath. 1, 1, and 9 equal 11. So I put a 1 here with a 1 underneath. And 1 and 4 is 5. So then I end up with 5,115. My estimate was 6,000. So my estimate of 6,000 and 5,115 is not too bad. Your estimate is really about looking, if I got a number that was in the hundreds place, maybe it was because I forgot to add that 0. So do you see why checking your answer is important? Because if I forgot to add that 0 and all my numbers on the second row were scooted over 1 because I didn't have the 0 there, I would have got a very different answer here. So that's where your estimate comes in. So I know that 6,000 and 5,000 are almost 1,000 separate, but the reason why we're looking at that is because we want to make sure that we have something close, like in the thousands place at least. Nolan.
On on the back, I'm just looking at what kind of problems we will have.
Yes.
It says estimate, then multiply. How many do we have to do estimates on?
I would, just like yesterday, we're going to just do a few. We're not going to do all of them. Some people yesterday chose to do them all. And if you are taking a math test next week, I would say estimate on every single one, because you want to make sure that you do your very, very best for a math test, right? You don't want to get something wrong. Let's look. We're still going to do more examples, promise.
How many do we have to estimate on?
I'll tell you once we get started with the lesson, because it depends on how many we're going to do. Look at the guided practice, because we're going to do this one together.
What do we type in here? Do we type in nothing?
We just had that. 5,115 is the answer, and our estimate was 6,000. So you write that in there. Okay, look at the guided practice. Gonna give you a few seconds to answer the guided practice by yourself. Then we're gonna look at what the answer is. Everybody's looking at me, so I think you might be ready.
No, I'm not.
32 times 13. Just if you're not, then just follow along with us. Or finish it and then check it if you're not finished. So if I estimate, I would estimate it as 30 times 10 by using compatible numbers, which would be 300. So that's about what my answer should be. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Then they put a 0 there for you. How nice. Now we're not going to use this 3 anymore, this one that's in the ones place. We're going to multiply 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we're going to add. And we get 416. 416 is close enough to 300 that I know that my answer is probably correct. On today's assignment. Oh, you're not listening. Everyone's not listening. Hold on. We're going to go through them together, and I'm going to show you the problems I want you to do. Okay? Ready? If you're not listening, I'm going to tell you have to do them all. Super important that you're listening. Here are the problems I want you to do. So I'm going to circle them on here, and I want you to circle them.